Hey guys, this is lesson 2.4 in our math series. Our essential question is, how can you estimate products? Remember, products means answer. How can you estimate products by rounding and determine if exact numbers are reasonable? And then our learning objective is estimate products by rounding and determine if exact answers to multiplication problems are reasonable. Alright, so I'm going to have you take a look at unlock the problem first. An elephant can reach as high as 23 feet with its trunk. It uses its trunk to pick up objects that weigh up to 3 times as much as a 165-pound person. About how much weight can an African elephant pick up with its trunk? Okay, so I'm going to take a look over to this spot over here first. It says, cross out the information you will not use. Okay, so we really don't need an elephant can reach as high as 23 feet with its trunk, because they're asking us about how much weight can an African elephant pick up with its trunk. Okay, so we don't really need that piece of information, that how high it can reach. Okay, circle the numbers you will use. Okay, so we're going to circle this 3 because its objects can go up to 3 times as much. And then we need to also circle 165. We are going to do 3 times as much as 165. Okay, so on this little line over here, make my font smaller. Okay, I want you to put estimate, okay, and then our multiplication combination here is going to be 3 times 165, because right here it says 3 times as much as 165. So you could go 165 plus 165 plus 165 3 times, but we're just going to use a multiplication combination to shorten that up. Alright, here's the first way, estimate by rounding. Step 1, round the greater factor to the nearest hundred. Okay, so I'm going to go to the hundreds place, and there's a 1 there, and the number directly behind it is a 6. So remember, if it's 5 or greater, you round up. If it's 4 or less, you keep it the same. Okay, so since this number behind is a 6, I'm going to round that 1 to a 2, and everything else behind it is going to become a 0. Okay, so then if we go to step 2 over here, use mental math. From what we learned in the other lesson, we're just going to take 3 times 2, okay, and that's going to be 6. But 6 what? I have 2 zeros left behind there. So I'm going to write on the line my 6, and then hundreds. Okay, 600. Okay, 3 times 2 is 6. Add my 2 zeros, or take 6 times 100. 6 times 1 is 6. Add my 2 zeros behind it. Alright, so the African elephant can pick up about 600 pounds with his trunk, because remember, we just estimated. We didn't really take 3 times the full 165. So let's just take a look at another way. Estimate by finding 2 numbers the exact answer is between. Okay, so now we're trying to find what our exact answer is going to be between. So for this first one here, 3 times 165, what they did is they just rounded to the place value. Okay, so if I just want to find the hundreds place value, I put my 1 down and everything else behind it becomes a 0. So 3 times 1, 3 times 1 is 3. Okay, and then I have my 2 zeros behind it, or 3 times 100, which is 300. Okay, so now that was the lower end, because I just did it with my 100. Now let's come over here. Now we're going to round up like we did before. Remember, we're looking at the hundreds place. We look at the number behind it. It's a 5 or greater, so we're going to round up to a 2. So then I'm going to go 3 times 2, which is 6. And then I'm going to add my 2 zeros behind it. Okay, or take 6 times 100. So the African elephant can pick up between 300 and 600 pounds. So our exact answer is going to be somewhere in between those numbers. Let's go to number 1 down here. Is 200 less than or greater than 165? Okay, on the line, we're going to put greater than. So, would the product of 3 and 165 be less than or greater than 600? Okay, so we're going to put on the line less than. Okay, and I'll explain why we're going to put that. Okay, so 165 is closer to 200 than to 100. So the exact answer is going to be closer to 3 times 200 than 3 times 100. So on the bottom here, I'm just going to put closer to 3 times 200. Okay, just because that 165 is closer to 200 than it is to 100. If it was, just think about it, if we have the number 100 and we have the number 200, the middle line between that two would be 150. So is 165 greater than 150? Yes, so that bumps it up closer to 200. If it was less than 150, then it would be closer to 100. Alright, so let's go on to the next page. Alright, describe reasonableness. You can estimate a product to find whether an exact answer is reasonable. Tell whether an exact answer is reasonable. Eva's horse eats 86 pounds each week. Eva solved the equation below to find how much feed she needs for 4 weeks. Okay, so, alright, so I'm just going to circle the information that we need. Okay, we know that the horse eats 86 pounds each week, and then we know she needs to feed her for 4 weeks. So the multiplication combination you're going to do is you're going to take 4 times 86, which again, remember, means 86 plus 86 plus 86 plus 86. So you're taking that number 86 and you have it 4 times, so hence the 4 times 86. Alright, Eva says she needs 344 pounds to feed. Is her answer reasonable? Okay, so we're going to come down here, one way to estimate, and we're going to put the 4 here, times, okay, I'm going to round this 86. If I were to round 86, okay, to the nearest, to the 10 spot here, okay, look behind it, the number is a 6, which tells me that my 8 is going to turn into a 9, and my 6 becomes a 0. Okay, so on the line over here, I'm going to write 90. Okay, alright, so let's just, now we're going to take our 4 times our 9. Okay, 4 times 9 is 36. Okay, and then I'm going to put my 0 at the end. So I have 360. So 344 is close to 360. So yeah, I would say that 344 pounds is, her answer is reasonable because our estimate 360 is close to that. Alright, another way. Find 2 numbers the exact answer is between. Alright, so I'm going to put my 4 down here. Okay, and then on this one I'm just going to round to the tens place. I'm just going to round to its place value. So I'm going to put an 8 and I'm going to put a 0. Okay, I know that 4 times 8 is 32. I'm going to put my 0 behind it. So I'm going to get 320. So over here I'm going to put 344 is between 320 and 360. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to come over on this side, and this time I'm going to round up like I did before. So I'm going to take 4 times 90, because remember how I got 90 from up here. Okay, so 4 times 9 is 36, and then I add my 0. Okay, so that's where this part comes down from up here. So 344 is between 320 and 360. Yes. So 340 pounds of feed is reasonable. Alright, so let's go down here to the bottom, share and show. Estimate the product by rounding. Okay, so I'm going to keep my 5 the same. I'm going to write 5 on the line. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to round to my thousands place. So I'm going to underline my 2, draw my arrow behind it. Alright, the number directly behind it is less than a 4. So that means that everything else, my 2 is going to stay the same and everything else becomes 0. Okay? Then I'm going to take 5 times 2, which is 10. Okay, and then I'm going to count my zeros that I have. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put those 3 zeros here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so my answer is 10,000 there. Remember, this is just estimating, practicing estimating. So number 2, estimate the product by finding two numbers the exact answer is between. Okay, so the exact answer is going to be between these two numbers. So I'm going to keep my 5 down here. 5 times, I'm going to do exactly what I did up here. Okay, change that to 2,000. 5 times 2 is 10. And then add my 3 zeros. Okay, and then over here, I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to put my 5 here. And then I'm going to change my 2 to a 3. Oh, it's getting kind of hard to see my letters here. Okay, I'm going to change my 2 to a 3. And then I'm going to fill those other numbers with zeros. Okay, so now I'm going to take 5 times 3, which is 15. Then I'm going to add 1, 2, 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3. Put my comma in there. So my answer here is going to be between 10,000 and 15,000. So yes, a possibility of 11,065 is close to the estimate of 10,000. The exact answer should be between 10,000 and 15,000. Alright, so let's go on to the next page. Alright, so we're going to do number 4 over here. Jones Elementary is having a car wash to raise money for a community horse trail. Each car wash ticket costs $8. Tira says the school will receive $1,000 if 125 tickets are sold. Alright, so the information that I'm going to circle here is $8 and 125 tickets. Because each one of those tickets is going to be $8. So if you have 125 of them, you're going to take that times 8 to figure out how much, or I guess to see if that is even close to 1,000. Okay, so we're going to estimate it. So I'm just going to go to my 125, and I'm going to just go by place value, and I'm going to go 100 times 8. Okay, 8 times 1 is 8. Take it times 100, add my 2 zeros, and I get 800. Okay, then I'm going to bump it up by place value, and I'm going to round it to the next highest place value. So I'm going to put 200 times 8 equals 2 times 8 is 16, and then add my 2 zeros there. Okay, so I stayed it the same and I rounded up. And then those were the two numbers that I came with. Now, take a look at the question. It says, Tira says the school will receive $1,000 if the tickets are sold. So, is this answer reasonable? Okay, and I would say yes, this answer is reasonable because between 800 and between 1,600, 1,000 can fit in there. So, it would be reasonable to receive $1,000 if 125 tickets were sold. Okay, so on the line you can just put yes and then have all the information that I have there. Alright, let's go right underneath it and do this number 6. Mr. Brown sells horse supplies. A pair of riding gloves sells for $16. He says he will make $144 if he sells 9 pairs. So the information I'm going to circle here is 9 pairs, and each one of those pairs cost $16. Okay, so that means my multiplication combination here is going to be 16 times 9. Okay, and we don't know that. Okay, so we're just going to be estimating. Okay, so over here, I'm going to go 9 times 9 times, and then I'm going to round that bring that 16 down to a 10 just by place value. So I'm going to keep the 1 the same and turn the ones place into a 0. Okay, so 9 times 10 is 90. Okay, then I'm going to go right underneath it and go 9 times, and I'm going to round this 1 to a 2, put a 0. Okay, 9 times 2 is 18, and then add another 0 behind it is 180. Alright, so they're saying he says he will make $144. So is $144 between these two numbers? Yes. So this one would also be a yes, in saying that $144 would be reasonable because it's between our lowest estimate and our highest estimate. Alright, let's turn to your homework here. And let's figure out how much we're going to do there. Alright, so what I want you to do, I'll circle the ones here I want you to do. Okay, I want you to do 2, 3, find 2 numbers. Okay, so then we'll do 5, 6, 7. Okay, then down here, let's do number 9, and let's not do number 11, so we won't do those ones. Okay, and then if you turn on your page on the next one, let's take a look at some of those. Okay, let's do number 1. Okay, these are really good review ones, so we'll do that one, this one, and this one. Okay? Alright, so just recapping what you're going to have all these circled ones here to do. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then on this one, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, if there's any questions, you guys, make sure you pause the video or watch the video over again, or please let me know. Alright, thanks. Have a great rest of your day.